We often imagine that true evil was born in the freezing depths of a dark abyss, crawling its way up from the shadows to plague our world. But that is a comforting lie we tell ourselves, because the terrifying truth is that the greatest darkness the universe has ever known did not begin in the pit. It was born in the blinding brilliance of the absolute light, crafted by the hands of the Creator himself. Before there was a devil to fear, there was only beauty, a beauty so overwhelming that it would eventually tear the fabric of heaven apart. And the echoes of that destruction are still vibrating through the cosmos today. In the dawn of existence, long before the clocks of humanity began to tick, God orchestrated the architecture of the cosmos, creating the heavens and the earth on the second day. And it was on this very same day that he breathed life into the celestial hierarchy. He filled the void with archangels and cherubim, magnificent beings destined to inhabit the heavens, including the renowned warriors Gabriel and Michael, who stood as pillars of light. Yet, among this glorious assembly, there was one entity who eclipsed them all, an angel who stood out due to his unparalleled beauty and splendor, known as Lucifer. He was not merely a soldier or a servant, but was the most important creature God had ever created, a masterpiece of celestial design that seemed destined for eternal greatness. But it was perhaps due to these very qualities, this excess of perfection, that the first seed of corruption was planted within his heart. Lucifer was taken by pride, a subtle but deadly poison that serves as the vice leading to arrogance, vanity, and endless haughtiness. This was not a momentary lapse in judgment, but the manifestation of one of the 7 deadly sins, festering within the mind of the one being who seemingly had everything. The proud Lucifer considered himself to be so perfect, so utterly without flaw, that he decided to create his own throne, one that would be placed even above God, because in his heart he no longer wished to serve. He wished to be like God. To accomplish this treacherous plan, the evil angel began to weave a web of betrayal, deceiving the other angels around him with silver-tongued promises and lies. The father of falsehood was so charismatic and convincing that he managed to rally by his side a staggering third of the angelic beings who inhabited the heavens. Together, they prepared to unleash a catastrophic battle for heaven, a civil war that would shatter the eternal peace of the divine realm. However, the rebellion did not go unanswered, for Lucifer encountered an outstanding opponent in the form of the Archangel Michael, the fierce protector who commanded the heavenly militia of God-loving angels. The confrontation was not merely a clash of swords, but a collision of ideologies. And to defeat the Lord's angels, Lucifer abandoned his angelic guise and turned himself into a mighty dragon, a terrifying beast of rage and power. He dueled against Michael, who wielded a flaming sword that burned with divine justice, and the heavens shook with the violence of their conflict. Yet, notwithstanding all his might and fury, the dragon did not defeat Michael, for the latter possessed an advantage that no amount of pride could overcome. He had God by his side. The rebellion was crushed, and Lucifer, along with his evil angels, were banished from heaven, cast out of the light they once called home. These angels fell to the earth, stripped of their glory, and were trapped in hell. But for their leader, the degradation was far more severe. Lucifer endured even greater punishment, as he, once the most beautiful angel in existence, was twisted and transformed into the heinous entity known as Satan. Lucifer and his fallen angels started to live in hell, a kingdom of ash and despair. But although defeated, Satan's hatred burned brighter than ever. He still wanted to avenge himself against his creator. But knowing he could not strike God directly, he decided to attack his greatest creation instead. He turned his gaze toward humanity itself, which had been created in the image and likeness of God, seeing in them a reflection of the enemy he despised. To execute his revenge, a serpent-shaped Satan slithered into the Garden of Eden, a paradise of innocence, and convinced the innocent Eve to taste the forbidden fruit. Using his deceitful tongue, the same weapon that had split heaven in two, Lucifer concatenated the original sin. This act of sabotage caused Adam and Eve to be driven out of paradise, fracturing the bond between Creator and creation. From that moment on, Satan would devote all his efforts to alienate men from God, tirelessly working to turn them into sinners so that they failed to reach the paradise he had lost. Lucifer, the fallen angel, rejected God's grace and therefore will spend eternity trying to destroy his work, leaving us with a chilling realization that the war that began in heaven is now being fought for your very soul.